Hey, Victory family. Welcome back to another episode of Single Life, where we are single people talking about honoring God, ourselves, and others while we live this thing out. My name is Quentin.
My name is Megan.
My name is Sierra.
My name is Jamie.
And we are going to dive in deep today. So walk with us. Who's got the first question?
Me. Why not?
Let's do it. What do we have today, Megan?
Me, somebody pick me. Okay, so maybe a couple episodes back, definitely last year, somebody mentioned lists, like your future spouse qualities you want list. I know some people like grew up with making lists in their youth groups. I was not one of those, but I do have a list. Do y'all have lists? Do you not? What are some qualities on them? Like,
You must have a long one.
What? It's not that long.
it's
that
like
long.
4 pages long.
I just didn't want to spill the beans.
Scrolling.
It's a scroll.
The tea. Wow. She said it. Gotta
scroll.
No, I got a list. Yeah. I wrote one. And now I didn't write one super early on, like the youth group thing. I wasn't part of that life either. But I had made one when I was 30. And then I made one recently when I was 33. So last year.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now I was your girl, so
Youth group.
yes.
group,
When
baby.
I say 180%, and how long was it? Okay. It was it was the scrolls. We said
The dust on it.
That's crazy.
and it just
That's too long. You get to,
and it kept so it was crazy. And so since then, your girl has been like, well, what if we tapered back just a
that one.
smidge?
And we praise God.
Because wow, that what I was looking for was perfection. Okay, that wasn't gonna happen.
And we all said,
Exactly, because that's what I was looking for. And since was like, wow, Sierra, calm down. So I still have one. I do kind of, but like, man, it's real. Because I'm like, Lord, it's you. You know what I need more than what I even really want. So, I've had to kind of tailor that a little bit. But definitely, I was your girl. That was me. That was me.
I wasn't the youth group girlie.
yeah.
But I was a stealer. I was a cheater. My friend gave me hers.
don't know how
And
I
I
with that.
copied it. I
So
copied
we
and
know how
pasted
you
it.
got through high
I was
school.
like, wow, you're so great. Let me take yours.
She said,
crazy.
you did the work?
I'm gonna take it. Good.
Make it easier for me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, her list was
That's
so
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I had a list in middle school. Pause. I had a list in middle school and it was like 6 things. Then we got crazier. Number 1 was like love Jesus. And then it was like tall, smart, adventure, like very
Okay.
simple.
Yeah.
And then I made like an actual list I think I was 20 years old. And that got more complicated. Not as long, not as a scroll.
Okay. Not like
But
mine.
maybe like a few swipes of your finger, you know what I mean? Like on your notes app, like a
Interesting.
Modern.
2. Oh, that's a few more than 6.
Yeah. Couple more than 6. Absolutely. Is anyone brave enough to share
Oh,
some of their list? Would love to go
Pulls
down.
out the phones.
Love to go. I mean, I have mine too. We can do it.
Okay.
you know what? I'm interesting. I have a question before
Yes,
you
please.
read your list. I want to
Please.
know the inspiration. Like, what inspired you to start the list?
I stole it.
We're not asking you because we know your
Stole it?
origin story. No, I'm just kidding. But like,
stole it?
what's
your origin? I stole it.
Even to that, like, what inspired you to like? I think I need a list. Like, what was that inspiration? What was it for you, Megs?
What a good question. Why? I remember the guy I liked at the time. I don't remember what the inspiration was for. Honestly, I think at that time. Okay, so I think what had happened was, which is what usually happens, is I liked a guy, and then one of my friends liked that same guy, and then they happened, and I said, "Huh," and the drama, the tea, piping hot. But I honestly think it was at that point where I was like, you know what? I just need to write down a list of things that not necessarily has to happen. There's a few. There's like loves Jesus. That's my number 1 because loves Jesus. But like there's a few that are kind of more immovable than others. But it was like a list of qualities that I found attractive so that when I did like a guy, I had something to like a litmus test to hold him up to of like, do I just think that you're attractive because your face is attractive or do I like you because like your whole personality and like who you are is attractive?
Yeah.
Because one of those things matters a little bit more to me.
Yeah.
But I needed something to like hold up to a guy.
Yeah.
Be like, is this true? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the inspiration for me is number one, I grew up in that world, in that culture. So that was one. But I think what inspired it to be like, this is a thing, was I saw, it was kind of that typical in the 90s. Everyone that was older than me was coming, like the Lord said, this was my husband. And I wrote a list and this is what I did. And I got exactly what I prayed for.
Wow.
And so that stuck with me. That was like, oh my gosh, I can like write this list and get exactly what I'm praying for. And that was the inspiration for me. And so, and there was one couple specifically that kind of just catapulted this thing for me. They met when they were really young. They stayed together, they dated, and then I went to their wedding. This was when I lived in Alabama. I went to their wedding, and their wedding was beautiful. And you saw their story, you saw all their pictures and their montage of just their life, and
Of love.
It was literally it was beautiful. It was like, I was in awe of it. I was like, this is incredible. And I kind of just adopted that without any real understanding behind it. I think I was 9. So I didn't have any real understanding of it. I just knew that that was incredible. And the Lord showed me later, you know, that's when he like placed this like desire for marriage inside of me, but his way. So from 9 until now, he's evolved that bad boy, and
For sure.
it's shifted and changed. But that was when it was like placed, and I was like, wow. And so he's cultivated me in that. But that was originally the inspiration. Yeah.
Wow. Jamie, we know you stole it, but
She
what
stole it, but
inspired
why?
you to steal?
Why did you steal?
What was the motivation for that?
Honestly, I think it's similar. Like I saw the community I had around me and the girls around me, they were praying actively for their husbands, you know, in a meaningful way. They like knew how important it was to do that. So they don't meet someone crazy. You know what I mean?
That part.
So I think like seeing them like take it so seriously, I was like, man, like this is actually such an important part of my life. Cause I wasn't like someone who was like dreaming about my future spouse all the time when I was younger, you know? So I think like seeing them do it, I was like, this is like something I should take also for my life.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's okay.
I don't have such inspiring stories.
I was
as
like,
y'all.
what about you?
Well, I write this down, like my stuff down in my journal. And when I start a journal entry, I kind of like pre-log it. Is that the right word? We're going to go with it.
Sure.
And this first list came from, I was reading a book called Changes That Heal by Dr. something.
Good plug. Good plug.
We'll look it up later. But yeah, he inspired, he was like, basically he was talking about owning our desires. And I was like, I don't even know what I desire, you know? And so it came down to that.
Yeah.
That's why this is titled List of Desires.
Now I get
We
it.
chuckled about it. Yeah. And now I got clarity and context. And then when I was like last year, I was 33 and I just basically, I was depleted. I had dated and I was just like, man, this is a frustrating process. And I kind of got real with God and I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. I made a list, but I don't even know if that list is anything valid or anything that I could even ask for. And so I'm praying, and then this one I pre-logged it again. I don't know. We need a word. Prelude, pre-log, pre. I pre'd it. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Well, not approved by Megan. I got it. There's this, we all know Proverbs 31. And I've never I've just heard it's the chapter of the virtuous woman, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't really dive deep in it. But then, man, I picked that thing apart. Holy Spirit showed me some revelatory things about it. And I'm not going to read mine yet because, Megan, you was going first.
Oh.
Yeah, we going back to that.
I signed up for that. My bad. Okay. No, I hate this.
Oh.
Okay. Number 1 was loves Jesus.
Boom.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And that was the list. I'm just kidding. No, because now I'm embarrassed. Okay. Number 2 is intelligent, can hold deep conversations, is funny, like all that. Apparently, I wanted somebody that could dance at the time.
Nice.
Wow.
Do I dance often? No. So I don't know where that came from, but apparently it was important.
Yeah.
Interesting.
One was he can sing or has musical abilities. Now, love singing. I don't think it's a make or break anymore, but apparently at the time it was a little bit of a...
Can you remind us of the age?
I was 20.
Yeah, 20. Okay.
I was
gotcha.
20. She was a baby.
Yeah.
She was just a baby. Works out, can drive well, has goals, like has a servant's heart. That one still kicking. We love that one.
Love it.
Is working on themselves, strong mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, so there's some good ones. Financially responsible. We love a financial king. Hallelujah.
Oh. Chorus.
Ooh, and then I said tattoos. I mean, I have but like apparently that was
a thing.
enough to be like the end of the list. I was like, we're done. Tattoos, done.
Wow.
And
Drop
then I never
the mic.
touched the list again. Quite literally.
Wow.
It's incredible.
So
I love that.
I have a random question if I can ask it. Is that okay?
Go for it.
I don't know. Will I like the question?
This is gonna maybe a little bit vulnerable.
Okay.
Do we have tissues around it? No, just kidding. No, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Do you find like as you went through life away from this list that you never like looked back or measured by as you lived, do you find that any opportunities that you have or relationships that you've had somehow were like linked to this list? If you look at it and you're like, whoa, that person I dated, there's like 10 out of the 18 things on here. Like, I heard y'all all do it. Got it. No, but do you find like you subconsciously found somebody with these qualities?
That is a really good question. Yes and no. Some of the guys that I've liked, I have not been on a date in 10 years, but some of the guys that I've been like, oh, you're attractive. I think subconsciously, I'll like mark them up against this list.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where over the years I've found which qualities that I've written down do matter to me and don't matter to me as much. Like they're attractive, but they're not make or break.
Yeah.
Because like, if I liked a guy that was strong mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, but couldn't dance, like you know what I mean? Like he had 2 left feet.
It's important.
It was like, okay, that's fine, but I've yet to, I think, meet somebody just in everyday life that like checks off every box on that list. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, I think mentally or subconsciously maybe I'm like marking them against this list that I haven't looked at in 6 years.
Interesting.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, no.
That was a good question though. I like that.
Yeah. It was definitely purposeful too. Because I mean, I feel like we put the pressure on people when they show up to the table. They don't even know.
And you're
they're
like,
under
no
scrutiny
idea.
to like,
We're like analyzing them.
You failed. It's like, well, I didn't even know I was being tested. So I definitely held my phone upside down too. So it was, Anyways, who's next for the list?
I mean, I could go.
I mean,
Love.
So I don't even know how long ago I wrote this, to be honest. So I have, okay, so I kind of.
See, do you feel embarrassed now? Is it happening?
I'm like,
Because
I
got
stressed. I'm stressed. I don't know. So what I was going to say was there's non-negotiables.
Yes.
And then there's like, okay. So some non-negotiables. Number 1, disciple of Jesus, lover of Jesus.
Amen.
I mean, what are we talking about? A tither, because listen, what?
wow.
It's important. That's because I'm not about to be cursed. I'm not about to be cursed. Our money's not about to be cursed. Figure it out. So,
Wow.
But
Figure it
a
out.
non-negotiable for me is that they are funny, like super witty. That is when I say that's a non-negotiable, dead serious still. Like, what do we do? No, we can't just, that
humor.
has to happen.
Humor is a sign of intelligence.
Thank you.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's a non-negotiable.
I mean, I'm learning. I'm eating right
notes,
now.
he's taking
Like,
notes.
continue to read.
And then for something for me specifically, financially stable, all the things. And then loves dogs, loves the beach. I mean, that's low-key kind of a non-negotiable because I'm not getting rid of my dog, so I don't know what to do. But yeah, knows how to show care and love, is emotionally mature, emotionally stable, huge for me in what I do. Intentional. I put softly direct. I don't even know if I fully know what that means. I think I'm super like, I'm strong and independent and all those kind of things, but I can be corrected 100%. It's just in how I'm corrected, but understanding that I can be corrected. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I think that might be where that was coming from, of like, how are you because the thing is, we're going to go toe to toe. We can do that. So how is that looking?
Don't come at me sideways.
Don't do it. Don't. Because your girl's going to rise from the ashes. I'm coming. So I think that's where that came from.
The ashes.
Coming from the ashes and rising. Don't do it. Don't do it. Good at surprises. I love surprises. So that was on there.
Interesting.
Has received healing in several areas of his life. Not perfect, but just realizes that he's received healing and he knows what he's received healing in. Yeah, that's kind of pretty basically. I'm trying to see.
Good list.
Yeah. Can talk about anything and nothing all at the same time. So it doesn't have to always be super spiritual, but we can just have fun. So that's definitely, and I would say, I think that's still pretty standard today. And then I think, Q, to your question, I know you asked Megan, but thinking about that too, I definitely think for those non-negotiables, for sure, that is always, it's kind of to the point where if those aren't a thing, I'm probably not going to entertain it because I know myself enough to know that if you don't have like the 3 or 4 non-negotiables, it's not going to work. I can try to will it. I can try to make it happen, but there are those like 4 solid things that after time, it's not going to work, and then your girl's going to be in trouble. So I just know that about myself. So those things for sure, but the other things I'm willing to. It's not the end of the world. So
that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Miss Cheater.
Let's hear the list you copied. Come on.
It's
a pretty solid list.
I'm ready for it.
Bring us the stolen list.
Okay, let's go through them. I mean, the first 2, it's like he's a believer. God is the center of his life, right? And she put Bible verses next to each one.
I'm glad you acknowledged the original author. This is great.
Give credit when it's due. You know?
Okay.
The next one is he has integrity and honesty. Doesn't put him in tempting situations. Right?
Wow.
Put himself in tempting situations.
Yeah.
I like this next one. It seeks mentorship and counsel. Being teachable, I think, is like something I love, even for myself. Right.
Yeah.
He's slow to anger. He holds strong convictions on the sacredness of fidelity. He is honorable of my heart and emotional well-being. He's disciplined in living a life of integrity. Wait, that's like the same thing as the other one, sorry. Solid work ethic. Finding joy in his work and honoring. That's like in parentheses, like a description. He pursues and loves me passionately. Romances me. He's humble and can admit when he's wrong. And there's like a list of other stuff like humor, and that's like her personal stuff, but like I like it too.
So you can send the list over here too. If you want.
Share with the group. Whoever this person is, thank you.
Thank you. Shout out.
Blessing Jamie.
Yeah.
She's sharing your list abroad.
You can change the words into she.
Nope. I'm good.
This is not a group effort anymore.
What I found interesting as you were reading is that those qualities match closely with 1 Corinthians 13. And a man is called to love his wife as Christ loves the church. And so it sounds like that's matching up. Like if you're looking for like a list or a rubric. I got that word.
You did.
There's something else that I got to work on the whatever. But to have love as the standard and to
that's so
create
good.
some lists from that. Ooh.
But honestly, after reading the list, I think I had such like you were mentioning before, like a perfectionist, idealistic mindset of like who my person needs to be. Like he needs to have these things or I'm never going to budge. And I think I had to like let go of that a little bit,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Cute.
Oh, I see. I thought we were talking so deep enough that we weren't going to have to circle
we're
back.
circling
No,
back.
that's wild, actually.
We're speaking for the
Oh,
fellas. We're trying to know.
Interesting.
Well, sorry. I just sound effects.
We trying to know.
Well, okay. So let's talk about this first list. Let me just pre-course here. Preface.
That's not
the
pre-course.
word. There we go.
That's been the word the whole time.
There we go.
That's crazy.
Just go back and edit. Put
preface. All right, cool. So I'm gonna read this. I can be frank in here. I can be real. So I'm a straight shooter. I know you were saying a little bit earlier. You avoided the word, but she a straight shooter. You were just saying I'm pretty direct and you're a straight shooter.
All of
You
it.
Tell it how it is.
100%.
So just telling it how it is on this list.
I'm scared all of a sudden.
No, it's nothing to be crazy about. So, wow, my first item is believes in Jesus.
Wow.
Yes,
Fantastic.
round of
Applause.
yeah,
love that for us.
appreciate it. Let's see. Has an ongoing relationship with God. So not just believing in Jesus, but you got to be actively pursuing him. Then I said, we have complementary purposes. So we can be like, you believe God has called you to be a prophetess, or no, this is the example I use all the time. Somebody that believes that God has called them to missionary work. I'm gonna be like, yeah. And you can be overseas, and we don't need to oversee this relationship anymore. But no, the reason is because I have a child, so I have a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't see missions anywhere in my future. I see raising my son, being at football, basketball games. So our purposes don't align in that respect. Anyways, what else? Natural. So there's gonna be some beauty things on here because as a man, I feel like we more physical. So we looking at the things. As you laughing because you
I love watching you get uncomfortable. That's really my favorite part.
That's really what it is. I'm just squirming right now. Yeah, so everything natural. We want to wake up and see the same person we went to sleep with. I'm just saying that and then just move on. I'm a face guy. I know a lot of guys today are like body people and all that stuff and all of you gotta have all the things. I'm just a face guy. Have a pretty smile, just everything. And then I put, oh Lord, this is embarrassing. This is great. I love this. I put fine but modest. She has to be modest. She has to be able to be, she knows she look good, but everybody else don't need to know she look good.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that. Anyways.
Just like that.
That was good.
Oh, Lord. Knows how to decorate the house. Straight up.
That's good.
Straight up.
We need that.
We need that.
We do.
Listen. Anyways.
Decorate
funny,
my house.
I like funny and goofy. You know, like I don't know how to be normal. I'm gonna just admit that. I think it's been apparent as we've been talking. I just be anyways.
Wilding out.
Yes, I do. I put career because I don't know what it is today. Some folks out, some ladies out here, they just, anyways, I'm just read the list. It's too long. Let's skip this. Can I just go to my next list?
Absolutely.
It's better. It's way better.
Let's go for it.
It's the growth. We're seeing the growth.
It's growth because that
Yeah.
one I'm not proud of. The next one though is very simple. What happened to me is I looked at, like, as I was broken, I looked at, do I really want this marriage thing? And if so, like, I can't keep looking at this old list. Obviously, y'all see me squirm as I was reading it. I was just like, I don't even know if this is valid. It didn't have any roots. It was literally just coming out of my brain. So I get into this one and I'm like, and God leads me to Proverbs 31. I'm like, I've read this before. And then he gave me this whole new revelation of it. And like, he gave me questions out of each scripture. So for instance, Proverbs 31:11-12 says, her husband can trust her. She will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm all the days of his life. The question that came out of that is, does she greatly enhance your life? Being with this person, does she help you be a better person?
Yeah.
And it's a very simple question. And then there's several different verses or whatever. And as I got to the bottom of it, I realized there's 14 questions here that there's almost like a grading rubric I can establish to like, if you check off this much or that much. And man, I was in a relationship one time. It was only like 3 or 14. And I was like, yeah, no,
Oh no.
this ain't it. This ain't God. And now I'm in a relationship now today, literally. And just so you know, I ain't lying. I'm gonna let Megan look down there.
Shut up.
14 or 14. I found one.
Okay.
Yeah. But I hope she don't see this podcast.
Uh-oh.
It's incredible.
Anyways, that's it. That's mine.
That's
I think
awesome.
that's really cool though, that like your list of like arbitrary kind of qualities has morphed into, with the help of the Lord, like
Yes.
has morphed into these thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
Like not so much they have to have X, Y, and Z, but do they make you better? Do
Yes.
they do this? Do that? Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love seeing that growth.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's so awesome. And it made me also think about, do you feel in any way that having a list has hindered, like, allowing God to bring you someone, or maybe who he's brought? Like, did it hinder what you were looking for and then God kind of just deboed it? Or maybe if not for you specifically, anyone maybe watching, what would you say to them as far as like, maybe they're super rigid with their list, or super like, if it's not these things, then it's not God, you know, like where's the balance in that? just
I'll share first because it's super simple. I had my first list, the one I was reading from first, where I was squirming, was super like there was so many things about the physical, right? And I didn't, until 3 years later, God took me back to Proverbs 31, but literally opens up, or it says in there that beauty is fleeting. It's like, so the half of the list that I wrote before, none of that stuff will last. So it's like, what am I trying to anchor myself to? And so that helped me. And I did miss a lot of opportunities, honestly. Like even my current girlfriend, like I met her like before that list, actually, in 2019. And I think that list defining things or preferences that had no biblical root weeded out people that were great, friends that I could have had or relationships that could have blossomed into something. And thank God that, he gave me time and brought me back to her. But it was just like had I continued to go by that list, I would have missed it.
So good.
Honestly, I was real rigid. I mean, I was telling you guys earlier, like I had such like a picture perfect like Christian guy in my mind before. So even the guy I'm dating right now, when we first started dating, like the things that were going through my head was like, oh, like he doesn't look like a Christian on the outside. You know, like I think I was so like outward focused when it's like comes to practicing our beliefs that like I was like, oh, like is this right? Like couldn't he do more? Like couldn't he show up more in this way? But then like I had to like take a step back and like humble myself and be like, whoa, like you're not even that much greater than that. You're not even that much greater than him.
Wow.
And like I looked at his characteristics, like how is he living his life day to day behind the scenes, right? And like I started focusing on that, and I was like, whoa, like he's actually like the first person in like his church setting where he like goes to and serves, right? He's like a servant, right? And like that's what I started noticing compared to like, oh, like I used to be like, oh, like he's on stage, oh, he must be a good Christian, but like now we know like sometimes those guys aren't even like that much greater than everyone else, right? So I think I just had to take a step back.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I think in full transparency for me, I definitely think the list at the beginning, the scroll, was definitely hindering because I was like, anybody that doesn't have all 947 things
Not
checked,
900.
Yeah, it wasn't going to work. I realized a few things with that. Wow. I realized one, the list was used as protection for me.
Wow.
Yeah, we're scared.
The list was used as if it's not every single one of these things, then it's not it. It's not God. It can't be God because I was afraid of rejection and I was afraid of not being taken care of. And so as the Lord just began to refine me and show me, then I was able to move and be like, okay, let me actually trust the Lord that he knows what he's doing. But then it turned into and morphed into, I was honestly afraid that I wasn't going to be with someone I was attracted to. Yeah. So then it switched to a lot of the physical of outside. Yeah. And because I was scared that I was like, well, if I don't have these things down and if it's not this, then I'm not going to be attracted to them. And so that also has had to morph a little bit. And I think for that one, I think for the most part, I'm past that. There are moments still where there's this like fear, and I don't necessarily honestly know where that has come from. And I don't know if it's even something that the Lord is wanting me to flesh out, maybe, but I don't physically know where that's specifically coming from, but there are moments where it might pop up here and there and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so that is still in a way some protection of like, if I have these things here, but I think as the Lord has continued to show me, it's like at the end of the day, God knows what he's doing. And I have to either trust him or I don't. And I have to understand. And it's not that I don't understand that the outside is fleeting. I 100, are you kidding? I know that. It's not a conscious thing. I 100% understand that and am 100% looking at the inside. That is way more important to me. Looks cool. If your character is trash or you're not integral, like goodbye, like what are we doing? So
that part right there.
I absolutely know in my head and in my heart that they have to have certain internal qualities. I think just whatever the enemy was doing in that fear was causing me to just be so heightened and focused on that. And so I definitely think there are ways and opportunities that it can stifle and hinder you from moving forward or from being able to actually see what the Lord might be doing and might have. And we have to let that guard down. We have to let that fear go and trust him and fall a little bit within parameters, but trust him.
I think a part of when I first started dating, again, like I remember very similarly, like I had to process, and like I think a part of me was projecting my relationship with God with whoever, my partner. Yeah. And I remember I went to like a small like retreat center, and the pastor there was like, hey, like if God was standing in front of you right now and he asked you to get married, would you say yes? And I was like, no. Like at the time I like really couldn't get myself to say yes to God, and I had to ask myself and be like, why, you know? And it was because I was scared. Like I was scared that I wouldn't be taken care of. But then I was like, it's God, like that's stupid. Like why would I think that? You know? So I had to take a step forward and be like, let me trust that if this is like someone God's bringing into my life, that like God wouldn't give me someone that's gonna hurt me, you know? Like at least like to the extent that I think he would. You know, it'll be hard. It'll be hard.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have anything?
All of the above. No, like for real, I think just to kind of, in all of y'all's answers, I think and for me, the similar theme is like, yes, the list can hinder you. If you look at it like Bible, and nothing is Bible but Bible, the actual word of God.
Yep. That's good.
And so to just hold that with open hands, like for me, it's realizing I'm attracted to different qualities for a reason. Like, and those reasons, they're not bad, but like, I'm not going to build and die on a relationship because of a fleeting quality. And so knowing, and we had said it earlier, like in our list, there has been like non-negotiables. We're not removing this. If you don't check it off the box, I'm not even interested. And then there are these qualities of like, okay, this would be so nice, or I'm attracted to this, or like just knowing that I think is helpful. Especially like when you're somebody like me, when I was writing this list of like, I don't even know what I like I can't like everything. So what is it that I actually think is attractive? So having something I think is good, but looking at that list of like, if they don't check off X, Y, and Z, like then the answer is no forever and ever, amen. But like being able to just hold it with an open hand and an open heart of the things that are non-negotiables, we're not moving on. The things that can move, let them move if they have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
I'm sorry.
Holding it with an open hand. No, it's fine. Go forth. Go forth.
Piggybacking off of one thing, you said that all of y'all started saying y'all had like this set of non-negotiables. I didn't learn that literally until this year, that I could have some things that like, hey, this is something that I won't budge on, but everything else is amenable. I never had that approach, and I think that could stifle it too, because my list refined and it got better, but it actually was the gospel. It was the word of God. It was the new list. But I still had some stuff that I was like, if every single thing don't match perfectly, then I don't know why I started talking like that. But you know, So, but that was the huge note of having non-negotiables was a big way to give grace on some of the other things.
Yeah, that's super true.
For sure. Last question that I'll kind of throw out there. So from a male's perspective, Q, and then from a female perspective. So for both perspectives, but so Q, what is a quality, maybe just high level in general, that women might not actually find or think is important, that men high level might actually find important, that we might be focused on the wrong thing? And then ladies, same.
Something that we'd put on a list that, or something that we value.
Let's go. Yeah, like value, or that women might, I'll say it this way. Sometimes I think women think men want a certain thing. They want them to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way. We do understand that men are visual. We get that. But we also know, especially with a godly man, that that's not the only thing that's important. It's important. There's so much more substance and depth to a female than that. For sure. And so it's coming from the standpoint of maybe women might have this misconception. Thank you. Misconception.
You have helped us today.
You have.
Thank you.
Appreciate your words.
I'll be here all day.
Women may have this misconception of what men actually want. And so from that standpoint, what is actually valuable to you that we might not realize?
I think a big thing that I've just, in my current relationship, that we've talked through often is oftentimes she's showing up to the table with like, there was one instance she was just like, yeah, I wasn't going to call you because so-and-so told me that I'm probably calling you too much or something like that. I'm probably being naggy. I said, woman, I absolutely love that you're calling me, that you want to talk to me, that you want to share these deep parts, these arguments that you have with family members. Like, that doesn't make you some ugly person to me. I love that you're letting me into that area of your life. So I feel like in any relationship, it's going to be a case by case basis. I'm a certain type of man. I appreciate a certain type of things. I said earlier where I'm a face guy. So I'm not looking at all of the extra stuff that women may say, oh, you got to have this, you got to be, I don't know all of those measurements, but you know what I'm saying? And I'm a type of guy, I'm not looking for any of that. It is very low on the totem pole for me. But what is important to me is, do you have a nice smile?
Yeah.
Do you have beautiful eyes? Like, it's really simple for me when it comes to that. And so just understand the person you're with, understand what they like. Just ask them. I don't even know how to put it. I'm a straight shooter too. So I just tell my girlfriend, I'm just like, just ask me. Like, don't think that you are spending too much time with me and you're like, I just want my space. And I've never asked for a space. So don't ask me, do I need space? So that's some elements to it where it's just like you come with last comment here is I think Instagram is destroying relationships.
That'll do it.
Because a lot of the questions that pop up and we talk about come from, I seen this post, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, first of all, that's not me. I'm not that person. I don't have that cultural background. I don't have those preferences. That's not me. So I think that's a big component of it, that you got to understand the man you with, and then to get off Instagram or TikTok.
Or TikTok.
Whatever is teaching you whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
So I'll fire back the question to the ladies. What is a thing that men think, like we're not understanding is something that y'all would value that it's just going over our head? We're completely missing it.
Yeah. I can share. I think that emotions and vulnerability are welcomed and needed. I think, again, just from what I know, what I've studied, what I've seen, a lot of times men maybe grew up not being able to, not being allowed, or it's weak, or all the things that kind of the stereotypical things, but I'm seeing it a lot. And with that, it's either breeding, you don't know how to deal or handle with emotions, or you're afraid if you show them, we're going to see you as weak. And I also can understand where that might be coming from, because sometimes females, unfortunately, just annihilate men when they do show them.
Yeah.
And I think if you're after a godly woman, a Proverbs 31 woman, someone who genuinely wants to see a godly relationship, they're welcomed and they're needed, especially because as females, we are highly emotional. And that's a connection point for us, that it's 100% okay. And if you are watching and you're like, man, I had this girl, I did this thing. It's kind of like what Q was saying. You need to look at the sources that you're looking at as to why you feel the way you feel, and possibly get some healing yourself in that area. And then look for the females that are actually healthy, because you might maybe not have been with a healthy one. So that's
so good.
Is my thought.
Yeah.
That's good. I would say that one of the things is I want to be taken care of. Like, I want to be cared. Let me try that again. I want to be cared for.
Yeah.
I don't want you to fix my problems.
Oh, wow. You dropped a bomb.
All right. That's been single life.
Please elaborate. No, I think that's so
That's
good.
huge. Yeah.
Y'all all said something similar to that y'all want to be taken care of. And as I'm listening, I'm like, I've never, ever heard that. And then I think you just said it here, that there's something about like a woman needing to just express whatever that is. So like, please unpack this, because this is good.
Yeah, so I want to be cared for. I want to know that somebody loves me, that he appreciates me, that he sees me, that he hears like my emotions that I'm going through, without being called dramatic. Like I want to be cared for in that sense, knowing that somebody cares for me. But when I express the problems or the things that I'm going through, I don't need somebody to try and fix it for me. I'm an independent girly to a fault. But a lot of times it's, for me specifically, I have to get whatever's going on in my head and in my heart out to somebody that I trust, somebody that is safe. And I just need to express all of that. And then I have the capacity to then fix what I need to be fixed, or ask for help in doing so.
That's good.
Now that is a long time of healing journey. You know, so like I know that that's not the case all the time for men, for women. Being able to ask for help is definitely a thing that we all have to work on. Yeah. But like for me, if I need help, I will ask for it. I don't need you to do it for me.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Huge.
Love it.
Dang.
Yes.
Yes.
I think the two things that comes to mind is being teachable, right? Like, it's okay. Like we all
for the guy to be teachable,
or
for
both
the,
of us.
Okay, no, I'm just asking
together.
because I just
For the guy,
kindness.
yeah. For the guy to be teachable. This is kind of a general statement, but I feel like guys can be a little bit like, you know, like
as I'm sitting exactly like that, adjust myself.
Like it's okay to make mistakes, you know, and we're growing and learning together. I think it's one of the most attractive things to me where like a guy's able to be like, hey, like what can I learn from this? You know, like how can I learn and how can I actually take action? I think the action part is huge. Like we're having a conversation, right? And like we're working through something. Like I would rather you not say sorry. Like if you don't mean it, you know, take in what we're talking about and like do something about it, or like at least try to, right? I think the effort is like what we're asking for, you know. And then the second thing is, I know we always talk about communication, but like over communicating sometimes. Like my boyfriend or fiance now, he's such a good communicator. Yeah. Like he used to over communicate when he still does, but when we first started dating, like he would literally be like, hey, I'm doing this at this time, you know, and I'm meeting these people, right? And he's a busy guy, right? Like literally he does so much, but he would do that and I wasn't used to it. So at the beginning, like I would be like, oh, like you don't have to do that, right? But he would do that without me asking, right? And the more he did it, the more I got used to it. I stopped worrying. Like I stopped being anxious. Yep. I don't even think about where he's at anymore. I don't worry about who he's with. Yeah. Because he over communicates without me asking him. Yeah. And I think that's helped so much like build that trust because like we're just hurt girls sometimes. We're just hurt. Like, we just don't know what's what, right? So like closing like any room for like questions I think helps so much. Yeah.
And too, it has a lot to do with just how we process things. Like you said it like you're analytical, but also a lot of guys, the general population, are very like black and white. Things are compartmentalized. There's a box for this, a box for that, a box. We're like, for females, our brains are like spaghetti. Like everything touches everything all of the time.
It is so confusing.
It is.
It is.
For us too.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Like,
but so
no,
in the communication.
Y'all could just tell me what's going on in the room. I'm good on the outside of that door.
He said, I'll stay out here. Yes. But like for the communication part, like you didn't even know that you needed that.
I didn't.
To now you like, you don't worry at all because he's fulfilling a need that you didn't know, one, that you needed, and two, that you didn't know how to communicate. Because I mean, like, same.
For sure. And like in return, because he did that, I started doing that as a practice, and like it became more clear for us, you know, like I'm like more direct with him now with what I want and what I need. Yeah. And like it just makes it so much easier.
Wow.
Yeah. And it built that trust. Man. Incredible. Guys, as always, we could talk for like 15 hours on this topic. So thank you guys. This has been amazing. Incredible. I love it. I love that we get to have fun and talk about it, but then also like genuinely bring the Lord into it and see what he's saying and what he's doing. So it's been phenomenal. Guys, thank you so much again for watching. Until next time, this is Single Life and we out.